Alright, well, so there's been a new patch or two since the last time I played. Come on, why aren't you... It's not going to behave right, is it? Alright, that's okay. So, since the last time, I haven't left things completely alone. I have fed my pets. Not recently, obviously, but usually I've been feeding them, and now they're all past the point where they're ready to evolve. I also have an absurd number of cooking metals to spend. And no, I haven't even pupilled, rebirthed, whatever, even one time in all of this. Boy, it is a little bit laggy today. It's not normally like this. The latest patch adding the story is just too much for the game to handle. I should have known. Okay, almost done here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to buy a pet token. Or whatever it's called in this game. A fairy pass? I don't know. A thingy that gives me another pet. And to do that, we go over... Oh, wait a sec. Must remember to grab our bag of tricks. Okay, we go over here. We go to consumable. And we get ourselves our first magic token. We go back here and we're like, who should it be? Well, before we do that, let's open all of our lucky draws. Actually, no, I've got a better idea. Hold that thought. Let's do things in the right order. So, I can just drop a token on you. I'm not going to do that, though. Yes! Evolving creature cost 15 cooking metals and will increase it only by 25%? Well, okay. I thought it was supposed to look different when you evolved it. And unlock a skill and, I thought wrong. Okay. That's it? They get to meditate faster? I'm sorely disappointed, actually. I really thought they were going to change to look different and that it was going to unlock skills and stuff, but no. Next time will cost me 35 cooking metals and then I'll get a skill. Okay. The image changes on the second and the fourth time. Oh, okay. Alright. Well, I was a little bit mistaken on how that worked. What'll be my number 4 fairy? Research speed. Spell speed. Meditating as a mascot. Training. The dark cat. I don't know. The dark cat seems like a really good one to me. I think we'll go with the dark kitty. Yes. The dark kitty. Who was apparently starving to death and I just found her. Okie dokes. Now, looks like everything's good. So, secrets on feeding. Alright. There we go. So, we gotta do a couple of things. First of all, look at how high everything has gotten because she hasn't done a pupil this entire time. Oh my gosh. So, I think it's time. No. Jeez. That's a lot of crap. You know what? Let's just do this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pupil once. And somehow it's the exact same person. She cloned herself. Hey, Necro. Alright. But what's interesting... Oh man, I forgot. These take 2 minutes apiece. I think there's a way I can skip around it. But I wanted to show something else I did. Then we're going to get to the lucky draws and a couple of other things. But I did do something. And I'm not 100... I think... I'm 99% sure it works. 99% sure that and we'll know in about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Less than that, actually. Why are you even trying, man? Can we just call the cooking battle here? He can spend the next minute and a half doing whatever he wants. I don't care. I've already won. Gordon Ramsay? No, Betty Crocker. I'm too lazy right now to mess around with that. I want to poke at the other things. This hasn't been pupilled in like how long? I don't even know. Months? How long has it been since I got my golden dragon? It's been a long time. So what we're gonna do... Come on. Come on, come on, be done. You're done. It's over. Come on! You don't have to finish every last one. Why is chili soup the dish when you could do absolutely anything and there's no researches in play? Why chili soup? Huh. Seems an odd pick. Oh well. Whatever. Okay, so check out the population. It's a mega city. There's quite a few skyscrapers everywhere. Sometimes it's hard to see the sun. The people here are kind of rich and don't know what to do with their money. They even pay without problems for your overpriced food. Speaking of overpriced food, I charge more than $300 for a cup of coffee. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's what I did. I couldn't leave her working in hell, could I? No, I had to take her out and I had to build up her home district. So it's actually kind of sad. You go to the neighbor district and, yeah, people are living under bridges. They have nothing. It's like, that's the difference right there. I did that. That is permanent. This district is permanently worth, like, just tons of money. So, you know, if I have a pupil on a replay, I've got this backing them. Okay, we had 2 other things to do, then we're going to hit the story. So the first one is... Oh, I mean, I guess I can use these too. Yay! Oh, right, I should probably turn researches on. Bonk, bonk. Wow, researches have gotten really freaking fast. Unfortunately, I'm out of money, so that's all the research you get. Yeah. I'm not surprised that I ran out of money. Alright, the second thing is lucky draws. This is horribly wasteful of them. Should use them after I've beaten all the stuff, but whatever. We just want to do it just because. See what's in there. What was that? Powerful what? Oh, I think that was a title. My conclusion? Lucky draws suck. Seriously, all they gave me was cooking metals and money. Nothing else. Really? Alright, fine. Well, I have 315... Hate? I don't know that I hate the undead, but, I mean, their lineage is like the greatest lineage ever. But as far as directly playing undead, they're just... I don't know, they never had their day, you know what I mean? Like, there were points where I felt like they could have been awesome, and then it was like, I'd always find some other build that would work better. Every time I've tried to use the undead, I've been disappointed. I'm sure somebody has a build out there that's great somewhere, but I never found it that I can remember. Alright, so we have 315 to spend. What do we want? A second theme. This is probably the worst thing I could waste my money on, but I'm curious. I'm curious to see how that works. I suppose another concurrent research is nice. We could increase the number of ingredients that we can put in a dish. And we really should have just done training and research, speed and income, of course, but whatever. We're just messing around. So, I just want to see... Okay, so this was the other thing I definitely wanted to do. I want to see how it works when I select two themes for the same dish. So we're just going to make, I don't know, a pile of assorted fruit chosen pretty well at random. Alright? So, random pile of fruit. Random pile. There. Okay. This could be a drink? I guess you could juice them. It counts as... Okay. It counts as a fruit, and it counts as... Well, it's not vegan or vegetarian if I don't select them, so I'll also call it a dessert. The Great Pile. So none of my existing recipes got that treatment, but if I create a new one... Really, anything that qualifies as vegetarian should automatically be a vegetarian dish. I shouldn't have to choose it. The Great Pile. Yeah, the rest of them are all secondary nuns. So, I see. But I think you removed the cost. It used to cost to edit them. I think you don't have to spend to edit anymore. I think you can just reach in and then select your second theme. Nope, you still gotta pay cooking medals or lose all your secrets. Okay, that's fine, that's all I wanted to know. Okay. And I think that's it for poking the game's assorted mechanics. From here, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna dive into the story. Oh, crud. I have to actually beat the neighbor district first. I'm sorry. Hold on. Fruit rice pudding. I guess throwing fruit in beats white rice. Yeah. You go to a restaurant, and all they serve is white rice. That's it. It's a buffet. It's a buffet. Every single bin is filled with white rice. Not yellow rice, not brown rice, not any fancy, nope, not fried, not pork fried. No, just white rice. The whole thing. All you can eat buffet. At 116 plus? Hey, I'm in 116 plus. Didn't I swear I just tried Undead again recently. I swear I did. At the moment, I'm kind of stuck grinding out lineages, which is, like, stupid. It's stupid. It's just stupid. I'm not strategizing. I'm not coming up with great things. I'm just sitting around and waiting an interminably long time and then upgrading my lineage one step, trying to get them up to 30. It's, yeah. What more can I say? What more can I say? Okay. Ahem. it is story time. No signature of the person who wrote this on the story itself. Oh, wait a minute. I'm being too hasty. Aha. Nope, no signature of the person what wrote this directly on the story. Well. All right. At first, I was more than a little disappointed with how few customers we had, but from John's reactions I came to understand that this, a half-dozen or so purchases a day, was the best business the place had ever received. Well, I guess this was to be my starting line then. Double my customer base seemed a good starting goal, but how? Advertising? Too expensive. New wallpaper to brighten the place up? Couldn't afford that either. Rebrand as a cafe? Maybe if my sunny-side-up eggs were sold as a dessert? No, I was overthinking things. The best way to get twice as many customers was to put twice as many options on the menu. Obviously! With passion, I dove into my new cooking projects. I vowed that each day I would break out in a new experiment until I fulfilled my goal. First, I made my B&B surprise. The idea was to combine the sweetness of bananas with the rich texture of beans. Then add the salty goodness of little balls of nori. All three were flavors that I loved. The scent of ripe banana enveloped the whole of the kitchen as I worked over the hot stove preparing my first order. When I piled that first plate, I was stoked to watch the expression on my customer's face. The man who ordered it looked as though he was hungry enough to eat his own arm. He eagerly seized the dish and savagely dug in. But as soon as he had that first shoveling in his mouth, his expression turned grim. He winced, looking as though someone had just kneed him in the gut. He chewed it slowly, like a lump of cud, finally forcing a swallow before leering at me. He quietly went over to his table, where he spent the next hour slowly working it down one bit at a time. Maybe he liked it, or more likely he was just that hungry. I wasn't sure what had gone wrong, but clearly something about the dish wasn't working. I kept trying different ways of preparing it. Perhaps fried. No, boiled. Perhaps microwaved or even baked. Maybe if I just covered it in grease. But if anything, the reactions only went downhill. Finally, I decided to give in. On John's urging, the menu was set back to just apple juice and sunny-side-up eggs. The next day was spicy carrot and cherry soup. Again, all tastes that I loved. I tasted every ingredient going in, and they were great. But once cooked together, the results were off-key somehow. No matter what proportions I used or in what order I added the ingredients, it always came out tasting horrid. Once again, I removed it from the menu at the end of the day. On the third day, John threatened to quit if I made him taste anything else. In fact, the less said about Day 3's experiment, the better. Day 4 made the rats all sick. It was an accident. I only spilled a little on the floor, but, well, the poor things were heaving all day. I felt terrible about it, and decided that perhaps it would be better never to serve any to customers, ever. The positive side was that the rats didn't come back after that. That night I couldn't sleep at all. My box spring groaned under my weight as I tossed and turned. I just couldn't make sense of what was happening. Somehow, every time I combined my favorite foods, the results were, well, less than the sum of the parts. Then I began thinking about painting. Don't laugh, it's what came to me at 3 a.m. I couldn't make a painting by just splashing my favorite... You couldn't make a painting just by splashing your favorite colors on a canvas. There had to be some order, some reason why the colors went together, how they were shaped, something that connected them. That was when I had my epiphany. My recipes, they were all over the place. There was nothing to tie them together. What they lacked was theme. I got up, went to the kitchen, and began to gathering every ingredient I had. I began to contemplate them each in turn, tasting them both raw and cooked, searching for something. Flavors that were meant to be together, that contrasted in such a way that both would shine. Then I saw it. A combination. And I had a theme. Spices. Enthralled with this epiphany, my hands were moving before I knew what they were doing, and there it was, my new Friday special, the refreshing kick. The morning was uncommonly chill and drizzly day, and when the store opened, there was an unusual swell of customers. Blech. Give me a second to recompose myself. Okay. The morning was uncommonly chill and drizzly day, and as the store opened, there was an unusual swell of customers. John counted a whole 11 of them. It was payday, and they were eager to spend their hot little money on something warm to put in their bellies. However, despite my best efforts, none of them were interested in trying my new special. John kept flinching every time I talked about it, and the customers seemed to clue in. Since no one was willing to try it, I was going to have to be more persistent in pushing the new drink. What customer could resist a free sample? I knew that I'd never been able to. Just as I finished brewing up the first of my samples, the little cowbell over the door rang, and I looked over to see a tall woman enter. She seemed to be in her late 20s, wearing long stockings and a knee-length sky-blue dress. She had an air of pride about her, and I could not tell if she was angry or amused at first. But with her coming in, I had successfully met my first goal. Now I had 12 customers, and all in the store at the same time, too. Now that I thought about it, perhaps I had not set my goal high enough. I'd have to think about this later. Steaming glass in hand, I called out, "Congratulations! You are my 12th customer. That means a complimentary special on the house." I crossed the distance to her in 4 strides and pushed the refreshing kick into her hands. "Start your morning with this every day. It'll freshen you right up." She looked down at it, then back at me doubtfully, then turned to John. "I heard you were beat. Scrapings from the bottom of my pan could have beaten you, really, but even so." She held out my special at arm's length. "Surely not by this." John shot back hotly. "No, Jane, I wasn't beaten by that, thank goodness." Realizing what he said, he quickly covered his mouth and looked at me. I was brimming with anger. A week of intense experimentation and discovery had culminated in that drink, and neither of these two had even bothered to so much as taste it before dismissing my hard work. That was too much. I raised my finger as quickly as my voice. "How dare you! Is this how you receive my food? You've not even tried it." "Unlike you, I'm a qualified chef. Merely by looking, I can see this is unfit for consumption. It's an offense to at least 3 of my senses," Jane said. I opened my mouth to yell at her, but at that moment the little ball of light that had been intermittently following me around appeared, and for some reason I couldn't put into words, I just didn't want to yell in front of her. It would have felt like screaming in front of a child. I broke off and shut my eyes, forcing my anger down. It wasn't easy. Then I took a moment to look around the restaurant while I reconsidered my words. There were a half-dozen customers sitting at tables. All were looking at the 2 of us, and from the expressions, they weren't exactly on my side. The ball of light flew near Jane, and she swatted at it with a scowl. I searched for the right words, my mind's racing. "Sis, why don't you just go back to your restaurant and leave us alone?" John sounded miserable. Had that tone of defeat been there ever since I'd taken over? She gave a nasty smile, apparently taking my silence as victory. So you think that that you're a better chef than I am? I asked. I've I've never dumped salt and pepper into boiling water and claimed it was a beverage, she said, sniffing at the contents of my glass. You mean you never thought of the recipe? I retorted, ignoring the face she made at me when I used the word recipe. Secretly, I was wheeling that this chef was so skilled she could detect all 3 of my secret ingredients so easily. Clearly, I had much to learn. Well, go ahead, try it. Or do you dismiss everything without giving it a chance? Jane stuck out her tongue, hesitated, shut her eyes, and poked it into the glass. An expression of what can only be described as immediate regret flashed across her face, and she gave a horrible little shudder. After a moment, she steadied herself. What do you think? I asked. She remained silent, instead turning her wrist and dumping the drink onto the floor. What do you think you're doing? She then dropped the cup to shatter on the floor and ground the pieces under her heel. And you call yourself a chef? I've disposed of this trash, and now I'm going to dispose of you. Is that a challenge? You're challenging me for this restaurant? I was hot, but also a little afraid. After all, that was how I'd claim this restaurant myself. No, taking this hovel would only be a loss for me, she said dryly. With a single gesture, she seemed to draw the eye to the crooked tables, from there to the peeling wallpaper, and then to the grimy windows. No, instead I'm going to take you for everything you've got in your register. I want this place condemned. And if I win, I'll seize your restaurant, I snapped back. I highly doubt that, she sneered. Next week, any day. The dish is rice. Anyways, she turned to face the customers. I imagine you guys could do with some real food. Follow me to my restaurant. I may even give out free samples. I stepped back as the customers stood up and began following her out the door, half-eaten eggs still on the table. One old man looked at me and said, Oh boy, she's got you good. Before I knew it, all that remained was an empty store. I turned to John. He shrank behind the register as I approached him. I rapped him on the arm. Ah, what was that for? He asked. She's your sister, isn't she? Why didn't you do anything? How could I stand up to her? She's always been my better, John said. Have you ever even really tried, or did you just give up a long time ago? He stared down at his feet. I paced back and forth. What do we do now? We've lost all our customers. Not all of them, John said, pointing behind me. Sitting quietly, but watching us intently, was an older lady in a red dress. She had on yellow-tinted glasses that made it impossible to see her eyes. The little ball of light had drifted over to her at some point, and she seemed to be stroking it with one finger. Perhaps this was more by accident, as she didn't seem to acknowledge that it was there. I approached her after a moment. I apologize for the commotion. It's good to know that I have at least one faithful customer. She's right, you know. What do you mean? I spoke louder than I should have. The woman shrugged. Oh, she's right about you. This food is just awful. She poked my eggs with her index finger. I could name 100 ways to improve this thing. For a start, do you even know what a spice rack is? Oh, so you're a critic too now. I threw up my arms and started for the kitchen. Bring out that refreshing kick I keep hearing about. Does it really kick? She asked. Probably like a mule, John answered. She smiled broadly. Well, I'm game. Still frustrated, I quickly whipped up a glass and passed it to her. The water was almost still boiling when I brought it out. With a swift swipe, the contents were gone and down her throat. I watched in horror as she breathed out, emitting twin jets of steam from her nose. You weren't supposed to drink it still hot, I stuttered. John, we might need to put warnings on our beverages. As I spoke, her smile faded. Too much spice, not enough kick. I do declare you're the worst chef in the Empire. It's been a bad enough day already. I don't need more helpings from you, ma'am. I grumbled. You misunderstand me. This is my way of encouraging you. She looked me straight in the eyes. Even through the glasses, her gaze was intense. When you're at the bottom, there's only one direction for your cooking to go. Thanks, I guess. Not very encouraging, but thanks. I broke the eye contact. I thought you were a child about to throw a tantrum earlier. What stopped you? Her long red dress sliding softly as she rose from the table. What? Scratched my head. I'm not sure. It just seemed that rather than raising my voice, I should improve my argument. She paused for a moment, the door already open. Did that thought really come from your head? And then she was gone. I stood there for a moment, bewildered. She's completely mad, isn't she? I asked. John only shrugged. I decided to hang my hat and call it a night. I sent John home and locked up. When I took out the second bag of garbage, I found that something had... When I took out the second bag of... What the heck? How am I stumbling over this sentence? When I took out the second bag of garbage, I found that something had dragged the first one out of the dumpster and torn into it, spilling its contents all over the sidewalk. Scowling, I glanced around to see if I could spot the creature responsible and caught a flicker of movement at the corner. Furious, I rushed after the creature, rounded the corner, and was shocked to see a small person dashing away as quickly as possible. Something fell from its hands, and it vanished around the corner. Perplexed, I followed cautiously, but the person was gone. I stooped to examine what he had dropped and found a bit of egg on the ground. I returned and cleaned up the mess, more than a little disquieted. I knew that there were more people than jobs, but when did children start having to raid the trash? I picked up a few things on my way home, but felt drained and a little depressed, so I decided to go to bed early that night. Unfortunately, sleep just wouldn't come. Between the knot of worry about the contest, the disappointment of the latest failure of a dish, and the thought of a hungry child out there somewhere in the night, my mind just couldn't be shut down. Finally, I gave up and rose from bed. If I couldn't do anything else, I would at least try experimenting with rice. I had 2 bags of rice, and I wasn't really sure which kind was better. Actually, I'd never tried cooking rice before, but I had the idea it was meant to be eaten boiled. So I poured a little brown rice and white rice together into a pot and filled the pot with water and set it on the stove. The results were strange. Some of it was soft, and some of it was still crunchy and hard. Clearly, different kinds of rice took different amounts of time to cook, so I decided to boil it a little more and left it to soak. What I ended up with was goopy and kind of soup-like. I was pretty sure this wasn't right. I mean, it wasn't too terrible, but it certainly wouldn't be winning any prizes. But with a warm meal in my belly, I was finally able to get some sleep. So, there are 2 more parts to this, but I'm not going to read them today. I'm actually still kind of under the weather, like I've been for the last couple of days. I think I'm going to need to just go to bed early tonight. I saw little punctuation and spelling, and I saw little errors here and there that need correcting. Boy. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go to bed early tonight, though. Anyway. So, hopefully be able to do something about that. There's a setting. I know there's a setting. Auto progress. So this will probably go through I should have done the world cooking contest. I forgot about it. I completely spaced it while I had my character that had been hanging out for like ever and was all powerful. Oh well. Whatever. So what we'll do... Can I afford to advertise yet? Heh. In the neighborhood district, advertising costs nothing. In this district, where it's all built up, yeah, it's kind of expensive. Let's see what else we can do. We could turn it into... Hold on, we could turn it into a cafe. No, let's do something about that peeling wallpaper, shall we? Let's see. 10. Thump. There we go. Much better. Straight tables. That'll increase our cash flow immensely. And we have the dark cat. I really was expecting them to do more when I evolved them. Good grief. Well, they're not far from the next one, but what's it been, like a month? I've been feeding them the whole time. I really like it. I actually really want to play more of it, but I won't get to until Wednesday. Yeah, I'm very interested. I mean, assuming that there's nothing else that unfolds, there's only 4 races, and without the spell books and stuff, the character creation is a shadow of what Master of Magic has. But I really do like the hex board, limiting it to 1 unit per tile. The strategy is still there, but it makes turns so much faster. When I'm at war in Master of Magic, like, you'll get into 5, 10, 20 some turns, battles, before you get another turn. And they take forever. And it actually becomes a real weakness after a while. But doing it like this, not stacked up, but just 1 unit per tile, there's a lot of tactics, pulling wounded units back, archery, the whole 9 yards going on. And you retain all that great stuff, but the turns go by real fast. I still think Realism Invictus's trick of building the stacks and fighting on the map the way they set it up with their whole overcrowded system and the support is a little bit better. I also think that perhaps, but I can't say too much because I haven't played it enough. But I feel like the units take a little bit too many whacks to bring down. It's also interesting the way it changes spell casting, because combat, there's no divide between combat and non-combat spells. Because combat all happens on the map. So throwing a fireball is at the expense of summoning something or casting a city buff. Yeah. I'll have to play more before I firmly make up my mind about it. But I'm excited to explore it further. I'm excited to explore that game more. Anyway, I don't think I did the Dwarven lineage yet. To just excavate. Let me see. Oh, that's a different question. Let me see. In this game, I think that everyone seems to agree that the Fire Fairy... I think that... I was never sorry to have the Gold Dragon, though. I was never sorry in choosing the Gold Dragon first. I don't have half the pets, so I can't say for certain. But, like I said, most people think that the Fire Fairy is the best, and I can't argue with that. The Fire Fairy is pretty potent. So, for idling to rule the gods, the best pet. The best pet. The best pet. I mean, it really depends. Like, getting a pet early in the game as opposed to like a late game pet that takes forever. Like, you'll have played most of the game before you get some of the late game pets, but we'll take that completely out and remove that from the context. If you could pick any single pet and just have it, what would it be? What would it be? What would it be? Let's see. The robot was the one I spent my first token on. That plus, he starts with good stats. He has plus 100% growth and an extra 100% on food. He's certainly a contender, but we've got some new ones in here. Pandora's box is a big complicated thing that might be better if you make it big enough. It might be the best. This makes crits not happen anymore, and that means your defense stat matters. The pumpkin is a contender. I don't know how good he is at getting chocolate because I don't have him. I'm hoping that we can get him this month, but I keep hearing mixed things, like maybe I won't get him. Maybe I'll have to spend my next token on him. He's a contender. I don't know how important it really is to power up your divinity generator further at this point. A contender for the place? I'd say it's down between the robot, the book, and the pumpkin. And there's lots of good pets, but best pet? But of course, I don't really know how this guy works either. I mean, what if his stats were able to go higher than 100% on growth? I don't know. I just don't know. So I guess what I can do is I can point at the pets which are the best ones, but not pick out which single one is the best. The golden dragon is hella good too. Hella good. No, hasn't started yet. No word if we'll see a new pet, or if or if the pumpkin comes back, or if something else will happen. The egg? Oh no, the egg is just a 10% to growth, 10% to items. It's just an egg. I mean, unless it hatches into, like, everything's gonna evolve. So we'll have to see what that does. Oh yeah, spoilers. Whoops. Oh well. Anyway, like I said, I think I need to go to bed. Oh yeah, somebody had wanted... What was it? I think it was... Was that it? I think that was it. I should name it Cadbury, really. I love the Easter cream-filled eggs. They used to have... I wait all year for those. They used to have them on Halloween as well, and a few years ago they just stopped. Our stores just don't carry them. It's frustrating. It's like, no, where's the Halloween ones? Now I have to wait till Easter. That, the cordial cherries around Christmas... Watermelons in the summer. Like, I have a bunch of seasonal items I wait all year for. Hey, it's good, but it's not like... I mean, it's not going to compete with the robot. It's not in the same league as the robot. It's good. I'm happy to have it, but the robot, pumpkin, Pandora's box, like the book, these things, you know... It's kind of like tiers in Pokemon, you know. Yeah, Charizard's good, but he's not in the same league as frickin' Mewtwo. You know he's not in the same league. You're glad to have a Charizard. Or maybe you aren't. I like Charizard. Not everybody's a fan though. Some people preferred the other starters. Anyway. So, like I said, I'm done for today. It's already conquered a whole bunch of areas. I guess the auto thing is working well. So the next section is not going to be written by me, but by Faith, the fella who wrote the first one. So I have some idea as to where the story is going, but it looks like it's going to be an alternating kind of thing. I don't know if I'm going to be reading the other sections of this. Looks to me like I need to make some corrections to this, actually. Someday I'm going to have an editor. Someday I'm going to have an editor. And then everything's going to be great. Until next time and every time, this is Hadriex signing off. Good night.